This episode is for October 13th and 14th. In it, we have field reports about the construction classes, the odd couple play, and Leyden students at work. Your Eagle update starts now.
This October, West Leyden is going to be staging The Odd Couple, a comedy centered on two very different roommates.
So The Odd Couple is a great American comedy. It's one of the classics. It's written by Neil Simon. And the one thing we haven't done in a long time here at Leyden is just a straight comedy.
So The Odd Couple is kind of about two roommates, basically kind of polar opposites of each other. The show is kind of about their dynamic and their relationship and how different kinds of people can work stuff out.
Since the show is based off only two roommates, there are fewer acting roles for students, but Pavone had a solution that would get more students involved.
It's a big show with a little cast, but it's a large, long, comedic theater piece. And we chose to do both a male version and a female version because it was our first show of the year, and we didn't want to just have 8 kids get an opportunity.
So basically what happened is that the original Odd Couple is the male one, and that show only has, both shows only have 8 roles. So in the male, it's 6 male roles and 2 female roles. And in the female, it's 6 female, 2 male. And so both versions of the play are written by the same guy. They're just set 20 years apart from each other. So the male version is like the 50s, 60s, and then the female is the 80s.
Pavone and Kyle both talked about issues they ran into since they are running 2 shows at once.
The issues that I've run into having split casts have always been something that I've done here because I do Teatro Leyden, where I have a Spanish cast and an English cast. But these shows are very different. They're not the same. So it has caused more issues. It's made us have longer rehearsal time. We started rehearsing in August. We're finishing up rehearsals next week. And we go from 3:30 till 7 as opposed to 3:30 to 6, which is most sports, most clubs.
One thing that I don't really like is seeing the boys and having to compete. I'm only half kidding, but it's fun to see them. The shows are very similar. Some of the lines are even the same, but it's really funny to see the boys do things a little bit differently than the girls do.
Be sure to come and watch the show on these dates, October 14th and 15th, and October 21st and 22nd. Bring family and friends. It's $2 for students and $3 for adults. This is Trevor Tadovich on the Eagle Update.
Would you like to learn how to construct your own things while earning a dual college credit? You could build your future by going to our construction class. Here's what Mr. Lindemann and a few other students have to tell us.
My name is Mr. Lindemann, and I teach construction class at both East and West Leyden. So you can take construction 1 and 2, and it's a class where we learn about a lot of different tools for the different building trades areas. So, we go from framing walls, building floors and walls and roofs, to doing electrical, plumbing, drywall, and all the different areas really in the building trades industry.
It's the hands-on learning and being able to show the things you've learned and be able to build onto what you have learned.
The saws and everything, I like that. It's not just paper and all that.
My favorite part about construction class personally is that when I first came here, a lot of kids in the class already know about construction, but you don't need to know about construction to go to this class.
Leyden constructed woods a few years ago. Now they have more options like home repair, construction, metals, and autos.
So industrial tech, we teach a bunch of different pathways for hands-on type of classes. Engineering, construction, metals, and autos are all different pathways you could take. So this class, construction, is a dual credit with Triton, so it matches up with Triton's COT 106, which is their rough carpentry. And so the students that take my class will get credit hours, which is just kind of a big jump start for students thinking about college. And even if they aren't, it's still worth getting the credits in case you change your mind later on in life.
This is Soraya signing off.
Like today we had 2 people call off, and honestly, some people will probably come late today.
Around 30% of high school students have a job. But recently, the lack of good employees has led to students having to take extra responsibility at their job.
I definitely feel like I have to take some sort of a leadership role in my job because, I don't know, just a lot of coworkers kind of just let us down in a little bit of ways. So I feel like I kind of need to compensate for that.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe I have to take a leadership role because there's not a lot of good employees. And even if there is good employees, most employees aren't willing to stay for a long period of time.
With this change of responsibility, students have found their job to be more stressful.
Yeah, taking that leadership role definitely adds stress because it's just hard to really take control of every situation when not everyone is kind of living up to their expectations. So it's really stressful to kind of manage everything.
It definitely adds stress to the work and like the work environment itself because it gets draining only because it's really hard to fit in school stuff and school activities, even though that should be your main priority.
This stress from work also causes students to stress about their schoolwork.
Sometimes I feel like I'm not able to give my all to my schoolwork only because I don't have that time because I'm forced to work at my job because there's not a lot of employees to work.
Yeah, it definitely does because sometimes I have to stay past my shift because people don't come in on time or they leave early or they call off.
Although there are some benefits to being a leader early on, some believe they are too young to take on this responsibility.
I think it goes hand in hand. I think when you get that early environment of taking that leadership role, I think it does prepare you for life later on when you actually have to fully take on that leadership role. But I also feel like I shouldn't be taking that full responsibility because there are other people who should be taking that responsibility for me.
No, I don't think a 17-year-old should really be at a manager position or doing manager duties, only because in most places they require you to be 18 years or older, and to have 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, it just doesn't seem fair.
This is Leo Ramirez with the Eagle Update.
That's all the news we have time for today, Eastside, and the Eagle Update will be back soon with even more coverage of the events and issues that matter to students.
Until then, remember to check your email for the daily bulletin, which has news on club meetings, tryouts, and other events here at school.
To share your story ideas or get involved in our work, connect with us on social media at EaglesEye212 or email the address on the screen.
For the Eagle Update, this is Andrew Jackson
And Abigail Godinez
signing off.